Fans who have been enjoying Helldivers for the last several months are now leaving the game in droves. Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and if you hadn't heard, the Helldivers community is a bit up in arms because now you're going to need to link your PlayStation Network account to the game if you purchase it on Steam to play online, and folks aren't happy. So we're going to get into this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button. I have a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and with Helldivers being one of those games that just everybody in the world loved over in a time when gaming is in an abysmal state, it was only a matter of time before something controversial happened that got gamers up in arms. This article is from Games Radar, and I must admit, for a game journalist article, for game journalism in general, it's actually pretty fair. So we're going to get into this. Helldivers 2 devs remind players it's Sony's decision, not ours, amid PSN backlash. We always knew this day would get here, and it's going about how I expected. Sony does what Arrowhead don't. And to be fair, I will say that, yeah, I guess this may be something that was announced way back before the game actually came out. This may be something that was announced that people talked about, that the developers let you know would happen, that you can get the game on Steam, but you will need to link your PlayStation account. That being said, it's not like that was heavily advertised and they pushed it off for several months due to technical difficulties. It's also something that gamers are not a fan of. If you're playing games on Steam, if you're a video gamer, if you're a PC gamer, you might not even have a PlayStation. What would be the point in having a PlayStation Network account? You're playing on PC for a reason. First of all, because PC is the master race, but that's neither here nor there. You might not like PlayStation. You might not like Sony. Maybe you're an Xbox guy or a Nintendo guy. There's also countries out there that don't even have PSN, and they're not, Arrowhead isn't even sure how they're gonna handle that aspect of it. They're not sure what's gonna happen to the customers that play on PC where PSN isn't even available. So it's a really interesting dichotomy. And while the Helldivers devs are here trying to say, hey, this is a Sony problem, okay, yeah, it is a Sony problem, that's fair, but again, this isn't something you guys have constantly reminded players of. Also, it just it reeks of passing the buck. It's not the very community organized that a lot of the fans have come to expect from a development team that honestly has been very good to its fans. So it feels like a slap in the face to try and pass the buck off to Sony, even if it is their fault. But let's get into this and see what it actually says. As Helldivers 2 endures thousands of negative Steam user reviews prompted by mandatory PlayStation Network account linking, community managers from developer Arrowhead have been rushing around handing out context and clarification to disgruntled players. I love that it's community managers doing this because community managers have been rightfully so taking the brunt of a lot of this Gamergate 2 sort of anger that's been festering online, because most community managers are, to put it mildly, we'll say sus. Like, they've all got flags in their bios. They're all talking about Ukraine, or they're all talking about Palestine. They're talking about how their pronouns are super important, and Helldivers has been pretty hush-hush on that, but even the Helldivers community manager got into a spot of bother a couple weeks back. I can't remember if I covered it or not, but even if I didn't, a lot of other outlets did, and to the point where they had to lock their account down because they were getting inundated with understandably hateful comments, considering how Helldivers had been a relatively apolitical space for gamers to gather and have fun, kind of like the way gaming used to be. So the fact that the community managers are just being inundated with bad reviews and people tweeting at them and commenting to them, I guess that's what you signed up for. A key point comes from community manager Twinbeard on Discord. It's Sony's decision, not ours. I get why this rubs people the wrong way, even if it is Sony's decision. Just when you hear someone say, like, have you ever called in, let's say you got problems with your internet or something, and you're like, hey, AT&T, I need your help with this, and the first there's, oh, well, I can't handle that, I have to transfer you. There's no acknowledgement of, hey, I'm sorry you feel this way, I would love to help you, I'd love to do anything I can for you, unfortunately, I'm not able to. Like, it just saying, and it's their decision, it's their problem, not us, it does come off as, we don't care about you, we don't care about your problem, and I know that's not how these developers mean it. I'm trying to be pretty nice, because even though I don't play Helldivers, I know a lot of gamers the world over have been, they've been loving it, and, it's very difficult when you're a AA studio like they are, who actually has done a very good job in the current political climate of keeping the game apolitical and just making it about the game. But you can't say there isn't reason for gamers to be upset. One user asked the devs what they're supposed to do about Helldivers 2 forcing this account link. It's strange they put forcing in the quotation marks here. That's what they're doing. They are absolutely forcing it. Sony doesn't have to do this, and I've got my thoughts on Sony doing this, and we will get into them when we get a little bit further into the video. But like them putting forcing in quotation marks is strange because it implies that Sony forcing them. Well, no, they are. If we're to trust what Arrowhead is saying, Sony is absolutely forcing them. So this account link said they live in a country where PSN isn't available, and even a VPN may not guarantee a workaround, pointedly concluding you just single-handedly killed your own game. Yeah, that's what happened. By doing this, by making a PSN, a PSN account mandatory to play, even if it was available in other countries, do you realize how many players are not going to want to take that extra step? Or again, play on PC for a reason because they don't want to have to deal with Sony, they don't want to have to deal with Microsoft. Like, yes, you are adding that extra layer of, well, you know what, screw it, there's other games out there, or maybe I'll emulate and play older games, or I'll go back to Fortnite, or whatever it may be. People very often, let's say you're a big fan of a particular YouTuber, and they've got a Patreon. How many fans actually end up going over to the Patreon supporting them? It's a pretty small number because humans are like lazy by nature and they don't want to take the extra step of going off platform to go somewhere else to sign up. If you offer the exact same options but through YouTube memberships instead of Patreon, for example, you will probably get more members because it's right there on the site. It's right there on the app. You don't have to go outside of what you would normally do. So just the inconvenience factor is enough to turn people off, even if they're not, engrossed in culture war, Gamergate nonsense. One user asked the devs what they're supposed to do. Oh, I'm sorry. Twinbeer responded, first of all, it's Sony's decision, not ours. Secondly, we don't have all the details about region-related issues yet. We're chasing Sony to get more info. It sounds like the Arrowhead guys are really scrambling because Sony absolutely screwed them. And I don't feel too bad for Arrowhead because, again, they could have handled this a whole lot better, but Sony, drawing ire, Sony has just been bastardizing video games and gamers for literal months, if not years now. I mean, it's potentially their fault that Stellar Blade was sabotaged. We've seen so many negative things come out of Sony lately, and not just on the gaming side, also just Sony media in general. Throughout the last several years, their handling of the Spider-Man franchise, they've been hacked multiple times. Sony's just a garbage company, so yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that they would sit here and just completely not acknowledge Arrowhead, not give them the information they need, and let Arrowhead field all the complaints of angry gamers the world over. Another user asked how to get feedback directly to Sony, and Twinbeard advised, tell them yourself, which sounds incredibly snarky, but no, apparently that's not some snippy remark either. Twinbeard confirmed it's actually an approved support link we're told to use. So Sony is telling these guys, hey, we don't have the information to give you yet for all your pissed off customers, just tell them to contact us. I mean, we also don't have the information to give your pissed off customers. So, like, Sony's doing this really half-assed version of taking the heat for Arrowhead, but again, something is just so weird about this. It's almost like all they care about is people using the PSN profile to link the game without any care for the repercussions of what this is going to do to you, harm the longevity of the game. And if you harm the longevity of the game, you harm the financial aspect of the game, which in turn makes you no money. So I don't see what Sony's strategy is here other than whatever. People have already bought the game. They're already paying it. They're not going to stop playing it. So just piss on them. Like, that's how it comes off, which it's pretty par for the course for Sony. But even so, community manager Baskinator sounded similarly weary in a response to the user who complained about the optics of account linking. Well, we always knew this day would get here, and it's going about how I expected, she wrote. Oh, yep, it's a female community manager. This is the one I really want to hone in on because you can tell it's a female with what they're about to say. I'm actually happy for us to be able to take action against player reports and make the game safer across the board, personally. Female gamer in a nutshell. It's a good thing that you're forced to link your account with Sony because now we can make the game safer. We can control you. We can say, oh, put the ban hammer down on people that use the words that we don't like or are too rude and mean in the chat, the mic chat. Like, no. That was one of the great things about about Helldivers from everything that I had heard, is it felt like old school gaming again. People got to go in, talk in the lobby, trash talk, have fun, kill some folks, and then they get off the game when they're done done and go have a beer with their buddies or go to work or whatever it is they're doing. So if you actually think that this is a net positive that are forcing you to join your PSN account because you will be easier to control, easier to ban. Yes, they talk about how there's going to be a new ban appeal process. Well, that just goes to show they're looking forward to the bans. They don't want you having your freedom of speech. They don't want you having your freedom of expression. They don't want you gaming like it's 2006 anymore and you're breaking out, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox 360 or whatever it may be. Of course, this psychotic female community manager would be the one that says something this brain dead, shows they do not know anything about video games. They don't know anything about gamers. They don't care about gamers. They're worried about their agenda and what they think is necessary to foster safety in the gaming space, as if gaming is some unhealthy, unsafe place to begin with. It was video games that turned Ted Bundy into the killer he was. If Ted Bundy had never picked up Super Mario Bros., maybe he wouldn't have sawed that 12-year-old girl's head off. In a follow-up responses, Baskinator notes that Sony has a dedicated team, a ban appeal process, and tools to take action on player reports, and it's all connected to having a PSN ID. She also echoed Twinbeard's comment, reiterating that it's Sony's IP, so it makes sense they'd want to use the tools they develop for these things. Yes, but if Sony cares so much about this aspect of it, why release it on Steam? Why not make it an exclusive like they did with Stellar Blade? Oh, it's because they know there's a lot of PC players out there. They saw that opportunity to make all that blingage, all that extra cha-ching, and they thought, you know what? We can kill two birds with one stone. We can heavily moderate an online game that players are going to have a lot of fun trash talking and building up like it's the old days of gaming, while also monetizing it on the PC side of things, acting like it's a gift to gamers. Hey, look, we're giving our games out to everyone. It's not just going to be an exclusive anymore. You PC gamers get your way too, as long as you lick our boots. As community managers who are now actively managing a suddenly unhappy community, Baskinator says, we're doing everything we can, including compiling a sentiment report over the response now, and everyone's feedback is being noted. Your feedback can get noted all it wanted, guys. If you're a Helldivers player, your community, they can say all these frivolous fancy words like how you're going to, they're going to take your thoughts into consideration. They ain't walking this back. This is here to stay. So if you do not like this, if you don't like the fact that you will be under the boot of Sony, if you will have your PC freedom taken from you, because that's what PC gaming is all about, freedom for the player. You can do whatever you want. You can mod your games. You can play emulated games. It doesn't matter. PC gaming is ultimate freedom, unless you're playing this, because now you will be under the boot of Sony. So if you're okay with that, sure, by all means, continue to play Helldivers 2. But if you look at this as an affront to your freedom as a gamer, then you will absolutely stop playing this, maybe even ask for a refund, whatever it may be. I don't really know what the refund process is going to be like, because this is such an odd situation, but either way, you owe it to yourselves to tell Arrowhead, and most importantly, tell Sony to fuck off. We do our best to communicate what you think back to our stakeholders, she adds in a Discord reply, noting that we're not like powerful people driving these decisions. I don't know, I've seen some community managers get away with some pretty heinous shit, so you say you're not powerful, and maybe compared to Sony, you're not powerful. But again, we have seen gamers get banned from Discords, get banned from the games themselves for such minor infractions because people are so easily offended and weak nowadays. You got more people than either you realize or you care to, more power than either you realize or care to admit. As community manager Spitz affirmed in multiple replies, this news isn't technically news. Helldivers 2 has said a PSN account is required since literally before the game was purchasable, and I do think that is a big distinction here. Yes, it was advertised, it was noted, but was it something that they really plastered all over the place? Hey, make sure that you are aware of this, because that very well could have influenced people's buying decision. Like, hey, we knew about the Hunter laptop story before the election actually happened, but it was definitely suppressed. Like, that's verifiable proof. Like, this is like the Hunter laptop story of video games, basically. This was only disabled at the launch due to technical issues, per Baskinator, and it's been a long time coming. Sony clearly hasn't changed its mind in that time, so now it's here, and here we are. Of course Sony's not going to change their mind, because again, why would they allow player freedom when they could absolutely have you living under their oppressive gaming boot? The PSN mess has clearly created some headache for Arrowhead, as well as PC gamers, the bigger part of Helldivers 2 audience, and there's the distinction. Almost everyone be playing this game on the PC, so if all these PC players decide, you know what, screw it, I'm done, they're going to be taking a huge tank. Helldivers 2 are going to look like the Suicide Squad numbers here in a few months, possibly, who knows? Like there are going to be so many individuals that even if they have a PSN account on principle alone, just, no, they're outski, they're done, they're gonzo, they don't care about this. And that's not even considering all the individuals from all these foreign countries that may or may not even have access to the game if they don't have access to a PSN account because it's not available in their region. Now, I'm sure Sony has thought ahead. Maybe they're going to have some sort of response for that, but as it currently stands, they're in limbo. They don't know, and that might piss them off enough to just cancel it outright anyway. Hey, there's a million games out there they could be playing. They don't really need Helldivers, especially if this is how it's going to treat the community that they've spent the last several months trying to foster, who are understandably annoyed to suddenly be tethered to a platform they may not touch, and in some regions may not even have direct access to. And even if just a minor annoyance for many, you've got to wonder if it's worth the blowback as Sony expands its PC gaming plans. Sony can preach about account security all at once. Again, they can preach about account security, but hasn't Sony been hacked 4 times in the last 10 years? I believe that's the correct number. Maybe it's 4 times in the last 11 years. Either way, Sony's been hacked multiple times. They're like they're the easiest corporation it seems to hack. You see, once every 2 years, we're getting a story about the massive leaks and hacks that have come and how much credit card and personal information has been jacked from Sony servers. You could probably hack them on like a potato phone or something at this point. So yeah, talk about your account security. Sony's a joke in that regard. But after months of industry dominating success from Helldivers 2, which built a famously positive community with no shortage of goodwill, the whole thing absolutely screams easily avoided own goal. And that, yep, this could have been easily avoided. You want to know how you easily avoid it? Don't force PC gamers who very clearly don't play on PlayStation to link a PlayStation account. If they want a PlayStation account, I'd wager a guess they'd be playing on a goddamn PlayStation. But nah, you guys know that, but you can't control them. You don't have the power over PC gamers, and that just burns you up inside. I hope to God Stellar Blade comes to PC within a year or so that we can avoid situations like this, that way we can play an unedited, uncensored version of the game, and maybe, just maybe, show these clowns at Arrowhead or show the real clowns at Sony how it's actually done. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X where you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and it's pretty interesting that we got to cover a gaming thing that doesn't really relate to Gamergate for once. It's nice, kind of a change of pace, but I don't always cover gaming, anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to in my Vital Idol Neon Leon live streams, and of course, you get to have discourse with all the other lovely Vital Idols. We are over 70 members strong. The community is growing, and it will continue to grow because the diversity we care about is diversity of thought. That's the only diversity that matters. Subscribe, become a member, and remember, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.